Get ready for the Real Talk Sports Show because we're coming up right now. Bam! We are on the air, and welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and we welcome those of you, first of all, who are watching us on the replay on Periscope and on demand on YouTube. Thank you so much. And of course, we thank all those of you who are watching us live here on Facebook, YouTube, happy friends at Twitch, and our Periscope, which very soon will be Twitter TV. And right next to me, the beautiful lady right there is our co-host, Miss Latricia Dolman, in the building. What's going on?
Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I am already ready. Let me find my shade because I'm feeling the warm weather, almost 60 degrees today. And let us. Oh, there we go.
Definitely need to get some shades.
I'm feeling some kind of way. I think that I'm really trying to get into the mood here because the weather's supposed to be like in the mid to high 50s all week, which means the 60s are coming right around the corner. Also, in a couple of weeks, Super Bowl 55 will be in Tampa, and the weather will be in the 70s. So, in preparation, the glasses are on already.
Yes, bring in the sunshine.
So, how was your weekend there, fair lady?
Weekend was all right. Whenever you have great days of football with the playoffs, what more can you ask for? That's pretty awesome with some great football being played.
Right. So definitely it was all day long, both Saturday and Sunday, big games. As now it's been cut down, and that now there are just four. After having, for the very first time, 7 teams in each conference playoffs, 14 teams total. And now we're in a situation where we're just down to just 4 teams. Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buffalo Bills, surprising Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all we got left right now. The final 4 are in.
Yes.
So we're talking about that, of course. We'll also be talking about the Hawks, a big day for them. Martin Luther King Day celebration is something that the city of Atlanta and the Hawks have been doing for many, many years. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, what the significance is on that, and even kind of talk a little bit about what athletes are doing in this generation to be more involved, not just in terms of social justice, but in terms of economic opportunity, which is a lot of people kind of they have a tendency to not talk about the Dr. King of 67 and 68 that really shifted a lot away from civil rights and social justice more to an economic platform. So talk a little about how some of the athletes are transitioning to that. And of course, we're going to be talking to D. Orlando Ledbetter at the end of the broadcast, as he always comes on about 8:45, because breaking news here in Atlanta, a new regime is in town. So big stuff going on. And a little special, we really don't do a lot of college basketball, but I got a guy coming on from that covers Georgia Tech, talking a little about the surprising start for the Georgia Tech men's basketball team. Also a little bit about kind of what's cooking in the ACC. So we got a lot of good stuff that we're going to be bringing to you as we go into the program. So we, again, thank those of you who are watching us here live and in person. Again, you can check us out on social media. Follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. You'll see it right there. You also can You also can call me if you have any special guests that you want us to bring on and want us to talk about, 678-410-9833. And also you can follow our lovely co-host. I will find hers. It's Latrice, and I'm sure it's down here somewhere. It's disappeared. There it is. Voila. So you can follow her directly. And because that's now, if I'm understanding correctly, that is your one spot for everything, because you got a lot going on. Tell people who are just watching for the very first time all the things that you are involved in besides being the lovely co-host of the Real Talk Sports Show.
Oh, thank you. I am the current Ms. America International, so I still have my sash and crown. My platform is Brain Tumor Brain Cancer Awareness. And with that, I support the National Brain Tumor Society. Love the work that they do for patients and caregivers who have brain tumors, those that are cancerous, those that are non-cancerous. I also have my own nonprofit organization, Making a Better Me Incorporated, where we help youth, because youth, I love working with youth. They are our future. And I am also the ambassador for Women of Color Golf for their inaugural golf event, which we will talk about later on in this episode.
And that is correct, because that is going to be, they're going to be our community outreach spotlight for this week. So we're excited about having them on, and excited about you interviewing the founder and talking about what you guys have coming up, because I know you have a big event coming up.
Yes.
Super Bowl 55. So we were talking about that as well. So guys, it's just really great stuff. Now, hang on. Before, I got to put my shades back on because I have a special announcement here. Hold on, please. For those of you who may not know or don't follow me on social media, this past weekend was a very big weekend for me, because on January the 15th, like the celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King, another legendary American was born, and that would be moi. That's right. It was Johnny's birthday on January 15th. Had a good time. Just being alive, being here, hanging out with my family, and just kind of taking it easy. So it was happy birthday to me. I kind of kept the turn up tree at the minimum. I didn't want
Did you? What did you do for your birthday?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I just kind of just relaxed, watch the games like everybody else. Traditionally, for whatever reason, I never go out on my birthday. I'm not sure what's kind of causes that, but I just don't. I just kind of like say keep it kind of low key, and that's what I did. And I'm really, after having a couple of surgeries, over the last couple of years, both in 17 and 2018, I was just happy to kind of like be here and kind of feeling like myself. So to turn up, but I will put this out. I do have Cash App. So for those of you who are, feel like you want to give the minister a little gift, no problem. Instead of passing the basket, just hit that Cash App. And we'll go ahead and accept any and all donations. I'm not ashamed at all. So yeah, it was just great to kind of hang out and do that, and just like you said, watch a whole lot of football. Now, did you watch it at the house, or did you go out anywhere? Kind of, what was your flavor?
I'm staying COVID safe.
Wow, she just put it right there. She said, "I'm not going nowhere." She said, "The only place I'm going is when I go to the Super Bowl. Even that is all going to be properly social distance, all that kind of stuff. So I know you're not trying to really be in the middle of that. So good.
I am not playing with COVID. No.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's like now, like a lot of people I know, more and more people I know have actually tested positive. I mean, fortunately, they're okay, but it really is nothing to play with out here. I mean, and it's funny because the recent people have been non-mask wearers.
They have been what?
Non-mask wearers.
Oh, yeah. I am unfortunately have heard of quite a few people actually who caught the virus and has passed away from it. Wow. A lot of people that I know have had people recently, the past few days, that have passed away from COVID. So I know that my prayers have been going out to them and just everybody dealing with COVID, everyone who has lost someone with COVID, everyone who has somebody fighting right now for COVID to get over it. I mean, it's definitely very serious. And so I'm definitely doing my part and staying COVID safe.
No, you have to, because at the end of the day, I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I tell you, I'm trying to get political about this thing. I know that people are saying, I heard a guy tell me that one of his doctors would tell me the masks really don't help. Listen, I don't care what. The bottom line is, it used to be if you went to a hospital and someone had a fragile ecosystem, the first thing they told you to do is you had to put a mask on. You could not go in and see them. I'm just saying, something about some of the mask doesn't do anything. Then why would you come right in? Now, people tell me, well, COVID is different. I don't know. All I know is it would seem like if you had any kind of germs, that a mask on you and a mask on another person would help block the germs. Not a doctor, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just trying to say. But anyway, I'm not gonna belabor that point anymore. So let's shift a little bit to the Hawks. We'll talk about them for just a second. Play MLK Day, like I mentioned, that's a big game for them. Why do you think that game is so important, especially here in Atlanta?
That game is very important here in Atlanta because when you look at the history of Atlanta, we can go right down to where the Martin Luther King Jr. Center is. And it's just history for our city. Atlanta has played a big part. And so for our own NBA team to recognize that special day and to have uniforms and the court just be the whole production, it just really shows how they take it in and that they know that this day is very important because of our history. And had it not been for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the many people who worked with him and walked with him and sacrificed with him, that we more than likely definitely would not be where we are today. And so paying homage to him, I think, is just really important. And I love that the Hawks do this. It's so important.
Yeah, I think it's unprecedented this year. They actually were involved in a partnership with the King estate and the King family, where I guess they were able to have permission to actually change the uniforms to actually say MLK on them. They redid the entire court in a whole black and gold motif to honor him. So definitely, it was. They always do a good job every year. They couldn't do as much because of the COVID. They normally have a gospel concert and so forth, bringing in, some well-known gospel or even a R&B type artist to come in. But this year they just said, hey, listen, we can't really bring anybody in but friends and family, but we do want to go ahead and do the court decoration. And also, if I'm not mistaken, they also did a hologram type of projection onto the floor as well. So yeah, definitely some great stuff that the Hawks did. And we got to give them big kudos and big shout outs for all the stuff that they're doing. And they really kind of been a leader in the community, don't you think, as far as getting things done, as far as a pro team?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And that's what it's all about. Yes, it's about what you do on the court, but you use your platform to make a difference in the community. It's all about community. If it wasn't for the community, there would be no Hawks. So for them to look at the difference that they can make in the community and to do what they did, it's just really phenomenal. It's outstanding.
Because we know what they're doing on the court. Been kind of up and down season for the Hawks so far. They kind of got us kind of jazzed up. They started off a 4-1. Looked like they were really going to be a threat in the East, and then lost, I believe, 5 of their next 6 games. Ended up at 5-7, and now after the big win on Martin Luther King Day, now find themselves, ironically, initially enough, even with that being sub 500, they are on top of the Southeastern Division. Just shows you how weak the East is. But watching this team, see, you're laughing, but it's true. I mean, the East is always, but they look good. I know we talked about this before. The big key from the players in the paint and in the 4 and 5 spots. Are you still taken aback at how much Clint Capella has given up, especially offensively?
I am. I think they're playing great, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see what happens with the Hawks. But for us to have big men, I mean, we see it over and over again. Yes, it's always great to have people out there that can shoot the three. I mean, we all know that the three-pointer is a game changer. It's a quick way to catch up. It's a quick way to build your lead. But we also need people that can score in the paint, people that can get those rebounds, people that can block shots and stop people from coming in and making great layup plays or dunks in the paint, because that is also a momentum changer. And when you have the momentum going your way, you want to keep it going your way. So those big plays that can be made by big men, I think really can be a game changer. So the fact that we do have good men that are post players that are playing down big, I think it is really going to help the Hawks. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this season continues to play out.
Well, the interesting thing I think is going to be as well is that, anytime you have new players brought in and you have a lot of guys trying to be the alpha guys, and we have guys playing for contract, I'm not quite sure what happened. Again, they kind of played it off, so it was just a minor thing, but there was a little bit of friction between John Collins and Trae Young, our 2 young stars. I think John was feeling some kind of way that a lot of those alley-oops and dunks that normally he would have got were going to Clint Capella.
I heard that rumor as well. And I know how important this year is for John because he is looking forward to signing a nice size contract. And yeah, it's about the money. And so you want to have those numbers, and who knows what they worked out. We know a lot of times it's like, hey, if I have this many points or this many dunks or this many steals, this many blocks, then I get this amount. So, I mean, that could be part of it. Only they know when you're in the locker room, because that's another thing with sports. Sometimes it may be things that's related to the game, and then there could also be things that's not related to the game that may cause friction on the court. So it really is a give and take to really understand what's going on, unless there's been a confirmed source that can confirm that. But who knows? But yeah, hopefully they can get that worked out, because you don't want that friction to cause problems on the game, in the games, and with their records, because we want the W's.
Yeah, and the other thing I got to give it kudos before we go to the break, the play of DeAndre Hunter this year has been outstanding. Constantly a double-double machine. I should say double-double machine. He's done a couple double-doubles this year. He's been averaging somewhere around between 12 and 15 points a game, and has a couple of games where he's been high scorer for the Hawks. So his development coming along, kind of giving that third scoring option, or even now fourth scoring option, now that you have Clint Capella, I think is making the Hawks a great team. Well, I tell you what makes us a great team is that we have some sponsors and folks that we want to give a shout out to. Again, everybody, you are listening and watching the Real Talk Sports Show. I want to give a big shout out to those of you who are listening only on the audio on WIGO 1570 or on the free TuneIn Radio app. Listen, if you don't have the app, download us, the free app. What you do is go put in WIGO in the search engine and hit the Real Talk Sports Show, and voila, you'll find us broadcast to you right here and right now. Listen, guys, we're going to be back. We got some comments here and questions on social media, and we have some people waiting in the green room. But to find out who they are, you got to keep it locked right here. For more, the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go nowhere at all. We'll be back. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Visual Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Visual Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvisualford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, guys, we are back, and you are listening to and watching the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me, the lovely Miss Tree Dolman. And we have lots of people in the house here. First of all, we're going to bring a gentleman in that is a longtime friend of our show. He is a guy that has been covering the Georgia Tech Nation, the Yellow Jackets, for many a day. Mr. Rod McKenzie, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be with you all.
Hey, man, it is good to have you back on the air, sir. Breaking news, the Jackets look like they are a team to possibly reckon with. 2-1, I believe, overall in the ACC, and I think a 6-2 or 6-3 record. Tell us what's been the key to the Jackets balling on the court.
Well, we're finally going to get to see them play again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. They've been off since, I believe, the 3rd of January. The program was paused they missed 3 games because of the virus. They were ready to resume, and then North Carolina State had some problems. So, they finally returned to practice, and they're getting ready to face Clemson. And they're on a 4-game win streak, won 6 out of their last 7, losing the opening 2. So things were heading in the right direction with a lot of momentum before the program was paused.
Now, this is a team that you think might be able to get to the big dance.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of how many ACC games they're able to play. In order for them to move up in the the rankings, the ratings, they're going to have to get some games in against some of these top opponents, win some of those games. And right now, they're actually in fifth or sixth place in the ACC. I think if you get in the top half, you have a pretty good shot of getting in. And it's going to be a tough job for the committee to select teams for the postseason, because with all the postponed games, canceled games, not everybody's playing the same amount of games. You're not facing the same opponents in the conference because of postponed games. So there's not a level playing field right now.
And so looking here at the ACC, and let's go back to the Jackets. Ms. Tree Dome is always big. She always talks about the presence of the big man. But if I'm not mistaken, the Jackets are really kind of relying on their backcourt, Alvarado, and they're running, I guess, a three-guard offense. Tell us a little bit about those guys.
Yeah, Josh Pastner is a big proponent of guard play in the ACC. And, of course, you have Michael DeVoe, Jose Alvarado, the senior. And when he gets it going, he's a tough guy to stop. He gets that momentum going, and he starts hitting those three-point shots all over the court. And then you have Bubba Parham, another senior, and they run that small lineup, three guards, a wing player, and Jordan Usher and Moses right at the down low, and you also have Kyle Sturdivant, a transfer from USC, that can come off the bench and play guard.
So you got some guys that are going to kind of run and gun and give us some exciting play here with the Jackets. Tell us a little about the ACC. ACC for a long time, especially when I was younger, was always kind of creme de la creme. Looks like they got some stiff challenges out of the Midwest. Who are some of the teams we can look at the ACC that you would think, hey, they could, again, make some noise in the tournament?
Right now, the surprise team of the league is Virginia Tech. Only one loss in the ACC. They're really playing well. They're not blowing teams out, but they're winning games, and that's all you really have to do. You don't have to win by 20 or 15 or whatever. So they're playing well. Virginia, they started a little slow, but boy, they're really playing well now. They just played a nationally ranked Clemson team and blew them off the floor. And they're undefeated in the league, and they're probably the favorite to win the league this year. And it's sort of strange when you don't mention teams like, Duke and North Carolina, but, they're going to have to struggle to keep pace with everybody else. And Florida State is a team to keep an eye on also. They got a young McDonald's All-American player as a freshman, and he's really leading the team. And I think, with them, with Virginia Tech and also with Virginia, they're probably the top three teams in the league right now.
Yeah, it's funny because you talked about North Carolina and you talked about some of those other marquee teams. I know Tech fans were feeling some kind of way when they opened up early in the season, knocked off a ranked Kentucky team, obviously not a top five team as they have in years past, and also knocked out North Carolina. So you had these two big marquee names, but not quite the punch that we might have had 4 or 5 years ago.
No, but at the beginning of the year, if someone would have said, "Hey, you're going to knock off Kentucky and North Carolina in the same month," they would have thought maybe you were doing something you shouldn't have been doing. So, it's a plus for sure, even though both teams are trying to find their identity. And I think by the end of the year, based on their track record and their coaches, I think we'll see different North Carolina and a different Kentucky team.
No doubt. We got another guy that's been hanging out in the green room as well. He covers a lot in terms of pop culture. We're going to bring him on and see what he's got to feel for what's going on in the rest of the country. Brian Jones, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Doing great. You see, I got the legend back in the booth here, Mr. Rob McKenzie.
Yeah, I see that. That's awesome.
So, Brian, what have you kind of seen like nationally outside of the ACC? What are some of the teams that have kind of caught your attention on the national scene as far as men's college basketball is concerned?
Well, I think what's interesting about the ACC, you talk about Clemson, and I know I was talking about Virginia and Virginia Tech. I think those are teams you have to watch out for. It's funny that you don't see Duke and North Carolina being nationally ranked because you're so used to them being one of the top contenders. But with everything that's going on with COVID-19, stranger things have happened. So so I think that's the one thing that stands out for me. In terms of nationally, I think you have to watch out for Tennessee. They're off to a really strong start. I think that's a team to definitely watch out for. It's still we're just getting into the thick of the college basketball season. I think one of the things that I covered is when it comes to the tournament and the Final Four, it's going to be all in Indiana, going to be played in different parts of the state. Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium is going to be hosting the championship. So it's going to be interesting, as Rod mentioned. It's not going to be an even playing field because the team is being postponed because of the pandemic. It's going to be intriguing to see who makes it and who's able to travel to Indianapolis, and if there's games postponed during the tournament. So I think that all comes into play, but it makes it a really interesting basketball season.
No doubt. And of course, obviously, the 800-pound gorilla is Gonzaga once again rolling out. I think they're 10 or 12-0 so far, kind of crushing everybody. I think their average victory margin is excess of 20 points. So I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see how things shake out as we get close to the season. All right, Rod, so when's the next game that you got to cover for Georgia Tech? What's coming up next?
Clemson comes to town tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off at McCamish Pavilion. We'll be there with live coverage from the game, interviews with the players and coaches after the game.
Well, speaking of that, Rod, I know, like you say, you got to get ready for tomorrow's night game. So how can people find out more about you, maybe pick up some of the coverage, either post-game or maybe the next couple of days as you do your thing?
Yeah, we're on the 247 Sports Network at gojackets.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Georgia Panther. So, we welcome everybody in. We'd like to talk sports, and, everyone's welcome.
There's Rob McKenzie. He's the man. If you guys want to know what's happening with the Yellow Jackets or with the ACC, got to check him out there, gojackets.com. Rob McKenzie in the building. Sir, thanks for joining us. And got to have you back again real soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rod.
That's the man, Rob McKenzie. I've been around for a while, covering the Jackets, does some great stuff. And just, again, excited that he can come on and tell us. I mean, I'm stunned, because Georgia Tech has been kind of floundering the last couple of years. The fact that they're out of the box with a little bit of steam, I think it might make it a little bit interesting around here in Atlanta. Just saying. Well, look, guys,
that the women do well, because I know my associate / friend, Mario Page, they used to play in the WNBA. She's one of the assistant coaches. And so I'm hoping that they do well so that she has a great season here.
Yeah, so the Jackets, the Lady Jackets have been performing quite well the last few years, been to the tournament a few years. And if I'm not mistaken, either they battled them to a very, very close loss or they actually beat Notre Dame. So, I mean, there's no question. They got some, the Lady Jacks can do their thing. Well, speaking of do their thing, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with something we haven't done in a while. The lovely Miss Tree Dolman is going to be highlighting our community outreach segment. If you want to know what it is, well, you got to stay locked on the Real Talk Sports Show. Kudos to everybody watching us and listening to us on all the portals, including the people on Twitch. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. Are you going to stay tuned? All right.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Vigil Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie.
All right, guys, we're back again. You are watching, listening, and hearing the Real Talk Sports Show. We broadcast to you on every daggone portal we can. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch now for the first time. We're also on Periscope, which of course is Twitter TV, and of course we're broadcasting the audio live on WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio. Around the room here in the lockdown living room, I have my lovely co-host, Ms. Tree Dolman, and of course the guy that knows everything about both sports and pop culture, Brian Jones, is in the building. So, guys, we appreciate you. Now, as a lot of people watch our show know that we've always kind of liked to try to do a community outreach segment, and we're so happy that that Tree has a lovely guest that's going to be joining us here, and she does something that really is kind of pretty cool. Is involved with Black women golfing. We're going to welcome the lovely Miss Perry onto our show, and welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. How are you?
Hello.
Clemmy!
Hello, everyone. How are you?
How are you?
Hey.
So I would like to take a quick moment to tell everyone, I've talked about her before on the show. This is the one and only Clemmy Perry, the founder and executive director for Women of Color Golf. Thank you so much for joining us, Clemmy.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, I'm going to let you ladies have the floor for a few minutes because I know you guys have a lot to talk about, especially about what you have coming up very, very soon in Tampa, in Super Bowl 55. So, Ms. Dolman, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, Clemmy, I just want you to tell everyone about Women of Color Golf and why you felt the need to start this wonderful organization that helps minority women.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk about it. So the primary reason is that there are about 24 million people who play the game of golf. 4 million are minorities, and less than 1% is a woman of color. So when you look at those statistics, it was clear that we wanted to make a difference and make a change in increasing those numbers and in growing the game of golf for marginalized girls and women of color.
Yes. And you have a program that you do, Girls on the Green Tee, and you do them at schools that have been named after your wonderful mother and your wonderful grandmother. So please tell us about those schools, the names, the history, what they mean to you, and about the program Girls on the Green Tee.
Oh, sure. So Girls on the Green Tee is going to be a 5-week program that we'll be implementing here in Hillsborough County. And there are two elementary schools. One is Clemmy Ross James Elementary, and that is primarily serving African-American children. And Doris Ross Elementary primarily serves Hispanic and migrant kids. So it reaches a demographic that typically is not involved in the game of golf. So we are thrilled about being able to implement that this year with our recent award from the PGA Tour as Charity of the Year. So that award is allowing us the funding to be able to actually implement golf for those girls, for those programs.
Great segment into that, because I was just about to ask you, how does it feel to be awarded the PGA Tour Charity of the Year for 2020? How does that feel? Let me just tell you, when I saw that, I just could not stop clapping, just yelling. And so I just want to know how it felt for you.
Well, it was a very humbling experience. We're still a new organization. We're only about 6 years old. And to be recognized at one of the highest levels of golf is just really a great honor for us, that the work that we're doing is the right thing. And so we are just really very excited and humbled and honored that we were even considered for that. And we're just looking forward to a great partnership with PGA Tour, the Valspar Championship, and Copperhead Charities. So it's going to give us an opportunity to maybe even take the girls over to Innisbrook, which is not very far from Tampa, and Palm Harbor, and the Valspar Championship, hopefully, if they allow spectators. So we've got a lot of great plans for those young ladies and their 5th grade girls.
I just want to say that your charity is so needed. I know I've told you before, but to all of our fans watching, I used to follow you on social media for years, loved what you were doing in the community. And so did my husband, because my husband and our mission is the same as your mission. And I always told my husband, I just wish that I would have started golfing when I was younger and that I would have known about the game when I was younger. And we always talked about how we really needed to see more women and more women of color being represented in the game of golf. It's really not a lot of us out there.
Right.
And so when I first saw your organization, and then when you reached out, it was just like, wow, just look at God just being so amazing. And I know that my husband is smiling down from heaven, because we talk so much about what you're doing. And
Wow.
for me to be able to help, it just means so much to me. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the hard work that you and Lynn do, because it is so needed, and you are changing so many lives that you may not even be aware of, So thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're glad that you've been a follower, and Chris as well. I know we a couple years ago on social media, and we. Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're back. Okay.
I said, we follow your history and your journey along with your husband, and we're just so proud of you. And we were just thrilled when you accepted to be our inaugural Women of Color Golf Ambassador for our first golf tournament.
Yes, and thank you. Another great segment. I was just about to say, so you are having your inaugural Women of Color Golf 9-hole event.
Yes.
And it's sold out months before the event. Just wow. How did that feel for your event to sell out months before the date?
It's really just all God. I mean, my story is I was a corporate executive, and I really just picked up the game of golf, but my background was training. And so I just really kind of took a different approach to how would I want to be brought into the game. It's like you said, typically, we're not going to just walk up to a golf course and say, hi, I'm here, I want to take lessons. And so we structured our own curriculum with the PGA Pro. I wrote it in guidance with a subject matter expert, Mr. Jim Wright. We developed our own workbook, and we looked at an accelerated way to bring people into the game that would also make them feel comfortable and be in a safe environment, particularly as women of color. Again, those numbers were so glaring. If less than 1% of us are playing, we are just missing out on so many opportunities. And our girls have to see that we're playing it as well.
So very true. And I know you're excited to be partnering with the NFL Alumni Tampa Bay chapter for the golf event for Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. Oh my goodness. Just what does this mean? I know that it's huge for your organization. You are, like you said, you haven't been around that long, but for you to be on the platform with the NFL Alumni Tampa Bay chapter, tell me how that feels.
Well, we are so grateful to the NFL Tampa Bay chapter and all of their members and the president who supported us, getting on this platform, and you as well, because we know Chris was, NFL. And so it was just all such a good alignment. And, we are just pleased to be able to have that opportunity and to be on that kind of a platform and stage to show that we want to engage women and girls in the game of golf. And we want to grow the game of golf, but we want to grow the game of golf for all women. So when we say women of color, it's not just African-American women or women of color. It is women of all colors. So it is a mixed, inclusive environment, and it's all colors of the rainbow are invited. And I think, that is what people are going to see. It's a mixture of all nationalities, races, and cultures. And, that was always the vision with the name, women of color. So we are thrilled that the NFL is allowing us the opportunity and to work with you and the Tampa Bay chapter.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna bust in here. I'll bust in here for a second. I heard a lot about women here, and I want to bring Brian in. I mean, can us guys go? Brian, what do you think? Can we go? What's up with that?
We have men in the tournament. We do have men in the tournament. In fact, we also have men of color golf, but the women have really just been excited about that and engaged in it, and have been growing our base. In fact, we're fortunate that Rondé Barker is actually going to be our lunch keynote speaker. So we are looking forward to an exciting event and having Latricia again serve as our very first ambassador for our inaugural golf tournament.
Yay! Yes.
That's all good stuff. I'm excited, Brian. Now, perchance, are you heading down to Tampa, Brian?
I'm not sure yet, but
Not
if I
sure.
am, yeah, I haven't heard anything yet, but yeah, that all sounds really exciting. Like me personally, I haven't swung a golf club in close to 20 years, but I definitely want to get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian, Brian. I mean, like you're a really young guy. So when you said like 20, like you stopped last time you did, you was 8 or 9. I don't get it, bro.
No, this is like probably right when I got out of college. So,
Okay.
yeah, this is like early 20s.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So we have an opportunity now. Now we got to do it. Truly get back to you. We got to get the date, time, and place. That's important on when this great tournament is going to be.
Definitely. Well, I first want you to tell us the date, location for the tournament. And I also want you to tell people how they can reach out and get more information if they would like to sponsor the tournament, if there's any opportunities or anything that they want to do to help sponsor your program that you do with Girls on the Green Tee and just anything, because what you do is really making a big difference. And so please.
All right. Well, actually, the tournament is going to be on a Monday, February 1st, and we are actually teeing off at right at about 7:55 a.m. in the morning, and it is at Carrollwood Country Club. And then following us, the NFL Alumni Hall of Famers and NFL alumni players will be teeing off in the afternoon. So we've combined both the men and the women, so it's going to be a great time. And we'll be having an awards dinner banquet with the NFL alumni as well, and then a luncheon with Rondé Barber to celebrate our inaugural event. If anyone is interested in supporting our Girls on the Green Tee program, our website is www.womenofcolorgolf.org, all one word.
I got that different time. See, that's what the time I got. You guys can see it right there, right in the bottom there. You can see it. www.womenofcolorgolf.org. Now they also can follow you, I believe, on Facebook at
Women of Color Golf on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and Twitter under Women of Color Golf. So definitely follow us, hashtag, and share.
Yes.
Ta-da! There you go, guys. That's all the information you need. Again, we appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast, and we look forward to partnering with you. Of course, Tree will be down there. If we come, it'll probably be later in the week, so we'll miss the actual golf tournament, but we'll be bringing some live broadcasting. Thanks to the power of modern technology. We'll let Tree kind of help us be our kind of eye on the scene. So we're excited about again being a part of what you guys are doing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you for all that you're doing for young girls and women everywhere, because you are really making an impact in the game of golf.
Well, thank you for having me. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Listen, again, thank you so much. God bless. And again, guys, there it is right there. There's a website if you guys want to be involved. If you can't go to the tournament, certainly all donations are accepted. There it is right there, www.womenofcolorgolf.org. So please, ma'am, please, sir, join in. And love, Ms. Perry, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you back again with us real soon.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But there it was, guys.
Can I just tell you, when you talk about inner beauty and outer beauty, she is one of those women. I am so happy to be working with her. Just phenomenal woman.
You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. So we're not surprised at all that you would be with the lovely Miss Perry. And again, certainly she was a great blessing to have her on the show with us. And, again, we will look forward to having you, bring some up-to-date stuff. We'll be letting the live stream go during that time. So we'll hopefully get you on and let you bring a couple of people on. Of course, social distancing, practicing. We won't get too close. We'll do all that stuff. So that's it. All right, guys, listen, we're going to take another break here. We got to kind of stay on point here for you. especially for the people at WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. Big shout out to our man behind the screen, Mr. Eli Smith. We'll come back. We'll talk some NFL football. And then, of course, we're going to wrap it all up with a little talk about our Atlanta Falcons. Okay, guys, you know, don't go nowhere. Keep it locked right here. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Stay tuned.
Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Visual Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie.
And it looks like we are back here at the Real Talk Sports Show. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate those of you again who are listening to us on WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. And that means you're probably listening to us either on our website. We have a brand new one now, WIGO1570.com. Or, of course, you can listen to us on the free TuneIn Radio app. If you don't have it downloaded, it's free. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. Upper left-hand corner, the lovely Miss Tree Dolman. In the bottom, Brian Jones. All right, guys, and then there were four. What did you think, Brian? What was your takeaway on the playoff games that we saw? Saints, Bucks, and KC against the Browns.
Yeah, I think when it comes to those Sunday games, it pretty much went as I expected. But no one expected to get Patrick Mahomes suffering an injury in that game, and odds are he'll likely play. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they return to the practice field. But the Chiefs were able to hold on. Chad Henne was able to come up really big in that game against the Chiefs and Browns. You know, they were able to hold off a really good Browns team. And Browns, you know, even though they're disappointed with the loss, they really had a memorable season. It was their best season since Bill Belichick was head coach and Nick Saban was the defensive coordinator in 1994. So they have nothing to be ashamed of. They have a bright future, but the Chiefs are going to move on and host the AFC Championship game. As for the Saints and Bucks, it wasn't a great game by any means because even with the Bucks, Tom Brady did struggle, but Drew Brees just had a really brutal game with 3 interceptions. He only recorded a little over 3 yards per passing attempt. Michael Thomas had no receptions on 4 targets. So the Saints offense struggled mightily. And it's the 4th straight year where the Saints fail in the playoffs and the 3rd straight where they lose a playoff game at home. So the Bucks move on. They face the Packers, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers for the first time first time they meet in the playoffs. So that's going to be really interesting. And again, on the AFC side with the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, we're able to come away with the win against the Ravens. These are going to be compelling games this upcoming weekend. The conference championship games are my favorite sports weekend because it's not necessarily the Super Bowl, but I think you get better games. So I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
All right, Tree, what about you? What were the games that you liked the best on the big Final 8 weekend?
Well, I can't say I liked any of them the best because I was excited to watch every minute of every single game, and I was looking forward to it. As I said before, I love weekends where it's like, oh, all of this football, but then it's also kind of a sad weekend because it's like, oh, now it's only going to, like we know, it's down to 4 teams. So now we just get football coming up on Sunday, and then there'll be one more Sunday, and then football is over. But I was so sad to see Patrick Mahomes get hurt. That really shook me. And I really hope that he can get healthier from that concussion. And I really think, as I've said before, I don't know if I'm right or not, but we'll see. But I really do feel that it will be the Kansas City Chiefs going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I have been saying that Tom Brady and his team, they're really starting to connect towards the end of the season where it actually counts and where it matters. So we will see how they play against Green Bay when they go up into Green Bay. And with the weather, I'm not concerned with that. We all know that Tom Brady played in Michigan. He played for the New England Patriots, so he can handle the cold. And a lot of his teammates, I think, can also handle the cold. So I'm not really concerned with cold weather if they do get cold or snow. I think that both games coming up this weekend will be really, really a great showdown, and we'll see which team plays harder. This is where it's like any given Sunday, you never know who's going to win, but we will see. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm so excited about these games coming up.
Well, of course, Brian, you may not know, but Tree is she's a big Michigander. Okay,
Right.
so anytime she can tie in a Michigan, so not only was Tom Brady, but we had to throw in he was a former Wolverine. She had to make sure everybody know that. Now I told my brothers a couple of weeks ago when I saw Tampa Bay start to kind of do their thing, I said, "Hey man, this is like I hate to. I mean, because it takes away from the guys that have played like Tree's husband and so many guys that are in the Hall of Fame that really played and left everything on the field. But sometimes, man, I think these things are like in these latter years getting to be like WWE. I mean, it just seemed to be too scripted that Tom Brady would leave New England and go to of all places to Tampa Bay, and now Tampa Bay looks like they could be the first team ever to host the Super Bowl in their city. I'm just saying, some feels kind of. And the Saints played like they always do, of course, in postseason. They just laid down. They just, I mean, because really at the end of the day, it was a boring game, but they really held Brady in check for most of the game. They just shot themselves in the foot. What, they have 3 or 4 turnovers?
Yeah, it was about 4 turnovers.
I don't care who you are. You get the GOAT, 4 extra opportunities. Probably nothing good's going to happen there. So, yeah, and then, of course, to see Patrick Mahomes get injured, I know they're talking about he can play, but I mean, anybody watching the game, it was kind of scary when he got up because he was not. I mean, anytime you see the guy's eyes get glassy and they got to help him on their feet, I say, hey, man, this guy, he shouldn't be trying to play anywhere next week, even flag football. I'm just saying. Let's go to social media for a second really quickly here. And this comment was earlier in the episode. We were talking about Reverend Daniel Fagan. He's pastor of the church Fresh Bread Christian Ministry, great church down here in Clayton County. He was talking about put the mask on. He said the doctors have warned them in the hospital for years, just wear it, which makes sense. And of course, see, here it is.
Go Blue!
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know it's go blue, right? Yeah, you're bedazzled by the beauty of Miss Coleman. Okay, that's the whole thing. Well, all of a sudden you go. I've never heard, Mr. Hardy. I've never heard you mention Michigan ever. I'm just saying. All right.
Our men's basketball team is doing quite well. Just for
yeah. Yeah, big shout out to Juwan Howard, part of the wonderful Fab Five back in the day in the 90s. Guys that brought out the baggy shorts and the black socks.
Yeah.
Never could win the national title with the entire team intact, but made for some must-see basketball, especially their showdowns against Duke. Great team, great players. Most of them went on to play in the NBA, so good to see he's come back to his alma mater and making things happen. What's really making things happen, the guy that always knows what's going on the scene with our Atlanta Falcons, and of course he has got the news, the breaking news is what's been going on here as the Falcons now officially have a new management team. He is the embedded beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Sports, an award-winning sports writer and Esquire par excellence. The one and only, D. Orlando Ledbetter is back in the building. What's happening, sir?
I'm doing great, Reverend. Thanks for having me on Real Talk Sports. Thank you,
listen,
Mr. also for having me, the co-host.
Well, hello. Thank you for joining us, and I must say, I love the outfit.
Oh, thank you. Been a long day here. We were voting on the Hall of Fame members today, and also jumped on with the new coach, new general manager, and ready for you all now.
Well, D-Led, like I said, I always appreciate you, man, because you do yeoman work, and especially with all this breaking news going on. And of course, as soon as D-Orlando Ledbetter hits the viewfinder here, social media blows up. So let's go to Mr. Hardy here on Facebook. He said, "Yeah, Mahomes looked like somebody had laid hands on him. Yeah, he has a spiritual. Yeah, he was looking pretty fuzzy." Also, Mr. Hardy is saying, "Always been a Michigan fan since what?" Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember him. I can't pronounce his name, but I remember him too. So yeah. Right.
He ran for 311 yards on Ohio State one year.
Yep. And then of course we can't do anything else in social media. Of course, we get the one and only Mr. Football, Vincent W. Turner, and he says, "God bless, but when is Michigan ever going to beat Ohio State?" There's some shade. Only Mr. Football can throw it. There you go.
Vincent. Now we already know how it is with Michigan and Ohio State. Don't start that. Listen, we ready. We ready. So I say this year we are ready. So we'll talk after we play, and you come back to the show, and we'll see what message you typed in.
There we go. All right. Well, Falcons fans have been waiting for the updates here. We know that it has been all over social media, all over the news that the Falcons now have completed their management team. Now, D-Led, give us a little bit about what Arthur Smith was saying, and also what Mr. Fontenot was saying as he now is officially signed in from New Orleans.
Yeah, we'll start with the GM, Mr. Fontenot. He pointed out that he'd been through 2 rebuilds in New Orleans. Okay, after Katrina, 05, they had to redo the roster, Hurricane Katrina, and then 09 they go to the Super Bowl. Okay, so you're riding high for a minute. Then 2014 through 16, they have 3 straight 7-9 seasons. And so then they put that team back together, and they've been arguably, 18, 19, and 20 been really close to the Super Bowl. At least this year made it to the divisional round with the quarterback who, got old on them. And now they're going to have to go through a reboot. And I only say that because the Falcons, same thing. They were doing pretty good there. Had a nice little 3-year run. After Coach Smith, 15 was bad. 8-8. Then they go to the Super Bowl, back to the playoffs. Now you got 3 bad seasons again. So they're gonna have to move the roster. And this guy Terry Fontenot has been a part of those in New Orleans when they had a quarterback with a high salary. So he should have learned something there. Now, the new coach, Arthur Smith, he comes from the Titans. He talked about having 2 running backs, and he doesn't really, he doesn't have Derrick Henry here, and probably not going to find Derrick Henry. So, but he said his whole philosophy was like, hey, it was like Shaq in his prime. You got to feed the big guy. So, we don't really have a big guy, and Julio Jones, you don't really know where he's at, in his career after having 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So the new coach is going to be limited a little bit based on their talent. And then defensively, he said they're going to have to be adaptable. So to me, that means that he doesn't think he's got any players, and he's just going to try to figure it out as he gets in here.
Oh, D-Led, always getting right to the point. Well, I mean, does this signal, when we look at this, I think you just told us. So basically with Arthur Smith and Fontenot, the Falcons are all in on taking one more shot with Matt Ryan at their quarterback. You can say Julio Jones potentially, maybe or maybe not, their wide receiver. But they're basically saying, with this core we got right here, we're going to make one more shot. And I would think so because, in essence, to get Terry Fontenot, they had to give up at least 1, I think, or 2 third-round compensatory ticks, or no?
No, those come from the league office. They're rewarding teams for developing minority talent. So that was
okay. So the Falcons don't lose anything.
Falcons lose nothing.
Okay, gotcha.
And am I correct? Didn't they start that in November of last year?
This year at the last meeting in Phoenix, they tried to pass it last year, but they it got a lot of pushback. So here in the pandemic, when nobody at the owners' meeting, they passed it. They brought it back, and the teams are like, "Yeah, if I develop Reverend Simmons, and then he goes to New Birth, then send something back my way. So that's what the league is trying to do there. It worked in general manager hiring. You got two black African American GMs now, Terry Fontenot here and Brad Holmes in Detroit, but hasn't worked with the coaches. The owners are still moving the target. The best job went to Urban Meyer, who, college coaches never work in the NFL. Second best job went to a guy, Brandon Staley, who was in, came out of Perry, Ohio, only been a defensive coordinator for 1 year, but they saw head coach in him. But Eric Bieniemy goes to the Super Bowl with the star quarterback who's been working for 10 years, and they don't see head coach in him right now. So Philly's still open. Houston's still open. But, Philly's supposedly going to Josh Daniels, and Texans nobody knows what the Texans are going to do.
So, and look at all this stuff that's going on. Again, it looks like the Falcons are going to, in essence, maybe try to do what they did with the first guy named Smith here. Try to see if they can get themselves a bell cow type running back. I was looking at the old stats from Michael LeBurner Turner, and I didn't realize, man, those first 2 years with Atlanta, I think he averaged like 360 touches. That was incredible. And speaking of touches, we got to touch base with the people at WIGO 1570 because they only are on at 9 o'clock, and they said we got to go. Appreciate all those of you listening to us on WIGO 1570, and big shout out to Eli Smith, the guy behind the glass. Of course, if you like gospel music, he's a legendary gospel announcer. You can check him out every Monday through Friday, except on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon for the Eli Smith Gospel Show, giving you stuff from old school gospel back in the day that your grandmama and them used to shop on the floor to the new school, urban, contemporary feel that everybody likes so much today. So again, check them out on WIGO 1570 and Atlanta's Incredible Radio. Until the next time, guys, God bless you and good night. All right, back to our people here on social media. So, yeah, it looks like that basically they're going to try to set up something that we've seen before. Like you mentioned last week, we certainly saw with Tannehill. We saw it 20 years ago with a John Elway who was on the tail end of his career. You got yourself a 2,000-yard back. I don't know if there's any of those floating around the draft, but basically somebody that can take the pressure of a Matt Ryan who can't move the ball and defensively find some way that if the Falcons do get a lead to be able to keep the lead. Am I kind of reading the tea leaves right on that?
Yeah, no question about it. The only people who were mentioned by name were Grady Jarrett and Chris Lindstrom. They didn't want to talk about anybody else. So as far as they're concerned, the full rebuild may be possible, but you just kind of got to move forward knowing that they got to, even if they find the running back, this line can't block. So, they're all 5 first-round picks, but I ain't seen the holes open up last year. I know Gurley was on one leg the second half of the year, but we're waiting to hear from them some substantive stuff about how they're going to rebuild this football team. Not just all this happy talk trying to get everybody excited to go buy, their PSLs and so forth.
Yeah, so Manuel Johnson, just to close out our coaching section, he's asking you, D-Led, is Eric not interviewing well? Because that's the rumor why he can't get a job.
That's what they say about black people all the time when they don't get the job. He didn't interview well. So Brandon Staley with 1 year interview, just great. I heard it about Sherman Lewis in 1995 when he was getting interviewing for the Cowboys job. That's the first thing. Oh, he didn't interview. He had a bad interview. I don't put a lot of stock in that. What it is the owners are not comfortable with this real brother from LA. So they're more comfortable with the white guy. So that's who they hired. It's a comfort level thing. So I don't know if he's got to go in there and shuffle for these folks to get the job or just, hey, this is my resume. Whatever it is not working.
But D-Led, I'm going to tell you something. Those last few statements right there, that's what we call the Real Talk Sports Show. That was fire. D-Led said, hey, there's something just not going on right. And Brian, Brian, you again, you deal with pop culture as well as sports. Is that kind of the feeling you get? You covered the Packers, Midwestern city, You've covered other cities. What kind of vibe are you getting when it comes down to these coaching decisions?
You know, it's funny that we mentioned the Houston Texans because what's going on there and what's going on with Deshaun Watson, it's really interesting. And there are reports that Deshaun Watson has no interest in playing with the Texans, and he wants Eric Bieniemy as head coach, or at least be interviewed. And I think they're either conducting an interview or setting that up. I'm not sure where they're at. But yesterday, the Texans fans actually started a protest. They were protesting the front office. They started like a restaurant right outside NRG Stadium, and they were all in their Texans jerseys, Deshaun Watson jerseys, and they just marched to the stadium because of everything that's going on. So, when it comes to Bieniemy, it's really fascinating that not just this year, but in even last year, where he's had so many interviews, but hasn't gotten an offer. And I think based on his resume and what he's done. Now, granted, Andy Reid is calling the plays, and he has just as much a hand in that offense as Bieniemy. But Bieniemy has been such a factor for that team as well. So it's really fascinating to me that he hasn't gotten an offer from any team. I can understand Robert Saleh getting with being hired by the Jets, being the first Muslim American to be a head coach. I understand a couple of these other hires as well, but Eric Bieniemy was considered the top candidate at one point, and the fact that he may not get a head coaching job is really fascinating and it's really surprising.
Well, Dan Campbell, the tight end from the Saints, he never caught a play in his life. But now we're going to say, well, Eric caught a play. Dan Campbell never been a coordinator. He played tight end for 10 years, a backup tight end. But all of a sudden, the Detroit Lions see him as a leader of men. And they don't get a brother that same leadership bump. So, I mean, call it what it is. It keeps happening. So, I'm not making it up. I mean, you're just switching the names out. It was Sherman Lewis. Now it's Eric Bieniemy. Sherman Lewis had 4 Super Bowl rings. He's the only person go. He should have just dropped his head on the table and got up and left. That'd have been the end of the interview. I got Super Bowl rings.
Ms. Dolman, what say you? I mean, we took a little shot at your Detroit Lions for a second.
I agree with what you said. What did you say?
We took a little shot at your Lions. You said, what about them Lions? Who they hiring? But I'm just joking. Go ahead. Finish up. I'm joking. I had to tease you. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I agree with what D-Led said, and also Brian. There's definitely, we all know what it is when it comes to hiring head coaches in the NFL. It's also conversations that my husband and I used to talk about, and it's not even just head coaches, it's also just coaching staff. And we all know, even when it comes to other positions in life, it's all in who you know. It's who you know that gets you there, what you know that keeps you there, and they're hiring who they want to hire. So I agree. I don't feel that he's not interviewing well, even though I'm not in the interview. You never know. I mean, sometimes you do have people that do not interview well, but when it comes to sports, and you're pretty much just talking sports. So the interview is what you do every day anyway, and it just all comes out naturally. So it's different when you have someone who's interviewing for a position and they have no experience to when you have somebody interviewing for a position and they have experience. Obviously, the interview is going to be good because you're speaking on your experience. That's what the interview was about, and also just what your vision is for the future of that team and that organization. So that's my feeling on it. I agree. Something definitely needs to change.
As you can see there, Cornell Hardy jumped in. He said, Arthur Smith is son of the founder of FedEx, Frederick Smith. And he said, I hope this is not only a great move, but a great business move as well. And obviously it's that. And again, it's like I said earlier, birds of a feather flock together, not in a negative way, but it's just that, wealth stays with wealth. That's how they kind of recirculate their money. They recirculate their connections. And I don't know, D-Lev, for me, when I saw this whole Arthur Smith hire, it just seems like, yes, have the Falcons have they had stretches with their perennial playoff team? Absolutely. Did Dan Quinn get them to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. But when push comes to shove, when I look at Quinn, when I look at even going back to Jim Moore, it's all about he's feeling some kind of family way toward the head coaches. I'm like, hey man, I mean, I'm not looking for you to adopt these guys. They got to be the head coach of your football team. So is it me? Am I misunderstanding this? But that's what it looks like to me. This whole Arthur Smith thing, I mean, don't get me wrong. I get what they were trying to do, and I guess you can't get mad at a guy who's loyal to his players, because this to me was a move to say, I got Matt Ryan here. I'm going to do what I can to make the best for Matt and maybe to some degree Julio while I got him under this big fat contract. Yeah, I don't see anything innovative.
Yeah, the nepotism and cronyism in the NFL is widespread. Everybody knows it. The owner knows it. They're trying to break some of that up. And all you got to do is say, hey, did the best person get that job? And, you know, Arthur Smith has never been a head coach on any level that I know of. So what makes him the best person for this job? He called plays for 2 years. So yeah, maybe it's a young
2 years,
and you want to give him the opportunity. But Mike Mularkey, he learned from him under 5 years. He taught him the right way. Said he earned it, and so forth. So we'll see. And but the best candidates on my list, when I'm talking to all the agents coming into this, the top coach was Brian Daboll, who's still probably gonna go to the Eagles or the Texans. He's the Buffalo offensive coordinator. He thought he was going to the Chargers at one point. He was the top out there, and he's still out there. Eric was the top candidate. Those were the top 2 guys. Top 3 general managers were Reggie McKenzie and Jerry Reese. We got 2 Super Bowl rings. The Falcons didn't talk to either one of them. And, arguably Rick Smith was a GM pretty solid, and Houston didn't win a Super Bowl or nothing. But if you want a GM, you want to talk to people who did it before instead of trying to find the new up-and-coming guy.
Yes, I mean, like you said again, I mean, this move just – and I get it. Okay, I get that you what you're trying to do. You're saying, look, I got these huge contracts. I'm in, cap hell, whatever you want to call it. But it just seems like it's kind of more the same. There doesn't seem to be any real imagination with these picks. I mean, I don't, all this stuff about trying to get these young up and coming guys, these Lincoln Riley type guys, somebody's going to give you something different offensively. And when I look at, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Titans were playing winning football, but I'm just thinking, okay, well, after the 2 years with Matt, then what? I mean, what's the plan? I mean, are you going to move with the rest of the football world and get to a quarterback that is at least can get himself out of harm's way? Are you going to change the offense where you can get a quick release so Matt doesn't get pulverized while waiting for a line? I guess I'm just kind of curious to what the game plan is going to be going forward.
Yeah, I think we'll see that starting April when they go to the draft. The good thing about the general manager, and wish him both of them the best of luck. They're young guys, 40 and 38. If they get it right, they'll be here for a long time. But he said that he's taking the best player available. No more of this taking guys for need. They've been getting in trouble with that for years now. So number 4, his pick is up, and Justin Fields is the best player on the board. He taking him. He said he doesn't mind drafting strength on strength. So I found that to be very pleasant to hear him saying that Ozzie Newsome told him, don't ever pass on a player for a need. And so that's going to be a good thing coming here to Atlanta, because we've been drafting need for the last 13, 14. Well, Jamal Anderson was 207, so that's 14 years. And they picked him instead of Darrell Reeves, Marshawn Lynch, and Patrick Willis on the board. They decided to take a pass rushing receiver from Arkansas.
Well, now you talk about that. Okay, so now.
Nice kid, though. Nice kid. He's a real nice kid. Did a lot of work in the community, but.
That was, yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, wasn't his father involved with coaching to death? Yeah, I went to one of the fundraisers. Really tremendous family. Yeah, I mean, very likable guy, but he couldn't pass worth a dime. That's he couldn't do it. That okay. All right, so now you mentioned the best player available. All right, so now what happens if in fact you get to number 4 and CBS Sports says that the Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver is there and he's the best available player? Would you pick another Alabama wide receiver at number 4?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the best player, you take him.
Okay.
But he's supposed to be going to 3 right now. So.
All right. Well, there you go. But I mean that's the scenario you're looking at. I mean, you have a situation where you could have a Heisman Trophy award winner, a guy who was, clearly hadn't showed above the competition at the wide receiver position, was just an electric player, and now you already said we got at least one future Pro Bowler, one guy that might have maybe another year or two left in the tank with him. Are we gonna have a third guy with still not having a line, still not having a running attack? That's going to be an interesting question.
No, that's the philosophy behind drafting the best player available. That players are going to win the games, and I bet you if you draft that player, I bet you Julio's hamstring gets healed a lot faster. And you're gonna need players all across the board. When we see the players winning the game this weekend, who stepped up? Tyron Johnson, a cornerback from the 4th round out of Weber State, took that ball 101 yards. So you need players wherever you can find them at, and you want to take the best player every time you come up on the board.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, man, because like I said, the Falcons have so many holes. You don't even know what to do as far as that pick. All right, I'm gonna go around the board. Well, before I do that, let's go ahead and go to social media because it's on and popping. We have Cornell Hardy thinks that Bowles or Peterson might be the Lions coach, Ms. Dolman. That's what he thinks. One of those two guys, Todd Bowles or the former Eagles coach. And then he also thinks that Rich McKay and not the new GM will be making the first pick. He won't have full throttle until year number 2. And then, of course, our man from Periscope Affiliate Man says Rich is still running the show behind the scenes. All right, D-Led, how do you answer this idea that somehow Rich McKay is secretly pulling the marionette strings behind the scenes?
No, that's a talk radio phantom move. They got to talk about something on the radio. And when you can't talk about the play killer, the play caller, that's their other person that they talk about. They found another whipping boy, Rich McKay. So, he hasn't been in the draft room since 2007, he said. So he ain't picking no players, and he ain't trying to go no extra meetings. So, he's going to let the people know what the GM's doing. He's going to try to get him what he needs. But, the new GM, how they going to try to undercut brother? He ain't been in the job one day. Y'all want to say that man's not letting him do his job already.
Just saying. Mr. Football, Vincent W. Turner says, man, I'm taking Jamar Chase all day out of LSU if he's available. First receiver, Devontae Smith needs to add some weight. And also on social media, Emmanuel Johnson chimes in. He said, this regime needs to make a statement and draft Justin, the future quarterback. All right, I'm going to go around the room. First, D-Led, if either one of those wide receivers are on there, I think you already made it plain. Devontae Smith is fine with you. What about Lamar Chase out of LSU?
I'm going defense. I'm thinking Michael Parsons is ahead of him. He's not the best player on the board at 4.
Okay.
I like him, but I'm not taking him at 4.
Ms. Dolman, who would you like to see the Falcons pick at number 4? If any player outside of the 2 quarterbacks were available, who else would you like? I should say that. Obviously, if Justin Fields available, would you pick him at number 4?
Depending on the needs, I also would go with the D-Led with getting a defense player because I do think that will help make a big difference. If they are looking for offense, I would go with him, but I would go with defense for number 4. And just also to say that, my awesome husband was drafted number 4 and he was defense and he went to 8 Pro Bowls. So when you make that move and you get a good defensive player, it could be a game changer.
That's right.
Brian?
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting because the Falcons haven't really been in this position for a while. And I think when you're drafting in the top 5, you're looking for that guy that can be an impact player for the next 10 years, 10, 15 years. So, for me, I think they can go a number of different directions. I think Michael Parsons is actually pretty interesting. But if Justin Fields is available, I think they have to build for the future. And I think if Terry Fontenot wants to place a stamp on this franchise, I think taking a franchise quarterback might be the way to go. Because I go back to when the Packers hire Brian Gutekunst as their general manager, I said they're going to take a quarterback in the first round in the next 3 years, and they did that this past year with Jordan Love. So I don't know if Fontenot's going to go that route, but if Justin Fields is available and if he's the best available player at number 4, then I could see that. And I think also with that is with Justin Fields being from Atlanta, playing football at Harrison High School, I think you can energize the fan base, and I think that's what this franchise really needs, is to kind of energize his fan base. And he won't play to start off with because Matt Ryan's going to be here for the next 2 years, but at least you have your future quarterback that you look to be, hopefully be the next face of the franchise for the next 10 years. So I would go Justin Fields if he is available.
Yeah, I mean, I if they drafted Justin Fields, first of all, Matt's uniform would be on fire. I mean, because there would be so much pressure on him to get back to the MVP Matt that we saw in the Super Bowl year. It'd be unbelievable. Okay, Vincent W. Turner here on social media said with the 4th pick, I'm taking Justin Fields. Or if there's the offensive tackle out of Oregon, Penny Sewell, or Caleb Farley, either of those guys are the best player in the draft, run a 4.35 40 like a Rod Woodson and Deion Sanders wrapped up in one. Our good buddy Emmanuel Johnson, he said, only defensive player or position that will have an impact is defensive end. There's no defensive end worthy of the number 4 pick. He wants a QB. Affiliate man, our buddy said Matt Ryan can't win anymore. He's true. Affiliate man, that's how he is. And then again, Cornell Hardy, trade down, get more picks, pick up Patrick Surtain, and bring Matt Patricia in as defensive coordinator.
What are they doing? No, you don't want none of that. Baby, we don't want. I got people like Miss Chris up in Detroit. We don't want no part of that. Yeah. We don't want no part to Matt Patricia. Let him go back to New England. But the trading back thing makes sense. That makes sense. The other thing that we started researching over the weekend, myself and Michael Cunningham, was like, okay, you don't take the quarterback this year because you got too much going on. So I was like, well, then I want to take the quarterback 2 years from now. I don't want next year's class. Who are the quarterbacks 2 years from now? So that would have been the guys who played this year as freshmen. So it's the Howell kid up in North Carolina and the Rattler kid at Oklahoma. Those are, if you want to be forward thinking, those I didn't like them. He likes them. They're 6'1", they're mobile, 6'1", 220 guys. I'm an old 6'5". I gotta have a tall guy. I don't really care if you run or not. I need you to be able to read defenses and move the ball around. But they told me that, hey, all the kids can run now. So maybe I need to go for that. So you might got to be able to run some RPOs and, make them pay. We see Daniel Jones doing that, but you're going to get beat up in the NFL running at some point. So I want to be able to throw from the pocket. At some point, Greg Knapp told me at some point you got to throw from the pocket in the red zone to beat people. And so I want to make sure my quarterback can do that.
Well, I mean, if they trade back, I mean, you got some candidates here that, depending on how they go, as far as draft stats, you got some quarterbacks that you could kind of, work with. Certainly, Zach Wilson. I don't know if he'll fall out of the top 10 or not. I guess it kind of depends on, what happens with Fields and the like, and what teams think for their needs. Certainly, you have the young man at North Dakota State, very, very raw, but that guy's got a cannon for an arm, so that's a possibility as well. And of course, I like the little guy at Cincinnati because he showed me that he wasn't afraid. And although he's 6'1", about 215, I liked him. He played big against all the top 25 teams and played big against Georgia right here in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Well, like I said, as usual, social media is going pop, 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 pop. There we go. Emmanuel Johnson saying the Falcons have to take a quarterback. This will put Matt on notice. You have to play well to keep your position. This is a win-win. And D-Led, Arthur Smith did say that there's no, there's no privileged or pampered players anymore.
The brother said.
Yep, that's out. He said, I think the Falcons should quick a quarterback in the 5th round. I don't know who will be around the 5th round, affiliate man. I don't know. You must have some some deep eyes there. And last but not least, Cornell Hardy Lions just need to chill. First 4 games and go to Sunday service. Anywhere in the 7 Mile, then turn up the rest of the season. He said, I'm just saying.
Okay.
HC Hardy is funny. He said they need to go chill the first 4 games and go to Sunday service and then anywhere on 7 Mile.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Well, I guess that sums it up right there, guys. Well, speaking of summing up, I can't believe that we've already approaching the 9:30 hour. It's been a great time having everybody out here tonight as usual. D-Led, Brian, and of course my lovely co-host Street. It's always a pleasure. Great guest. Just man, having a good time here talking sports and hopefully bringing you sports from a little bit kind of different kind of angle. We do some stats, but we're really kind of about having some fun. We like to let you chime in from social media so you can be part of the show as well. And we hope you guys will join us next week as we do our thing. One more pop-up here from Cornell Hardy. Yep.
Thank you. Much respect to you too, HC Hardy.
Wow. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Emmanuel Johnson, thank God the brotherhood is dead. No more used cars made in talk.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, this is why they call it Real Talk Sports. Everybody keep it very, very real tonight, I got to say. Well, guys, before we let any of our guests go, you know how we do. We like to let people know where you can be found, follow you on social media. So let's start first with Brian Jones. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm the trending sports and entertainment writer for popculture.com. You can find my work at popculture.com or popculture.com/sports. I recently got in contact with tennis star Sloane Stevens. So I'm going to do a couple of stories on that. That should be out on Friday. And on the entertainment side, I got to talk to actress Lindsay Morgan. She's going to be in the new CW series Walker, which premieres on Thursday. So be sure to check those stories out. Again, that's popculture.com, popculture.com/sports. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's at Brian Jones_PC. And I have a podcast, Always Football Season. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And I also have a Facebook page for the podcast, which is facebook.com/Always Football Season.
Yeah, see me better now. We got the lower thirds. So you can see it now. There we go. At Brian Jones_PC. Well, Brian, listen, as always, thank you for joining us, man. We look forward to having you back again real soon. Brian Jones.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
All right. To the Esquire himself, D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is
Mr.
yours.
GQ.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me on Real Talk Sports. You can find us on Twitter at TheOrlandoAJC and AJC.com for our Falcons coverage. You can bookmark the page. And then also our podcast, the Bowtie Chronicles podcast. Find that on Apple and all your other platforms. And the Cover 9 at 9 blog drops every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So you have a lot of stuff in there this morning from the new GM and the new coach. I think we made our headline tonight. The brotherhood is dead.
There you go. All right, guys. There you can see it right there. The Cover 9 at 9. Go to AJC.com/sports. Atlanta Falcons blog, and then you go look for the Cover 9 at 9. You'll see it right there. Remember, follow him on Instagram, TheOrlandoLed, or check him out on Twitter at TheOrlandoAJC. Yes, indeed. To the Esquire, Bowtie Chronicles, always in effect. D-Led, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, D-Led.
Well, that's about it. I mean, it was just fantastic. We'll go back to social media one last time here. And let's see here. Affiliate Man says, y'all best show on the Falcons. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. Big love. And Emmanuel Johnson, we had him laughing the whole time. So
he's just laughing. Okay.
Yeah, because he said basically, thank God the brotherhood is dead. So, we feel the love. But listen, guys, like I said, we appreciate you so much. But again, we're not finished. We got to let you know how to find the lovely Miss Stolman.
Well, hello. I can be found at It's Latresa on Instagram, and then also at Ms. America International 20. And that's MS America International 20 on Instagram. So those are my 2 pages for my Ms. America International title and crown with different things that I do with the community. And then my personal Instagram is It's Latresa. Thank you so much.
I went for the easy one.
Where can you be found?
Oh, it's my turn. Look at this. I'm so excited. Okay, so guys, you can find me personally at Minister J Sim. I don't know where it is. Bam, somewhere. I got it. There I am. Yeah, so you follow me on social media personally at Minister J Sim. That's how you can reach me. Oh, you also can follow the show at Real Talk Sports 7. That's everywhere. IG, that's on Twitter. That's also on Facebook. Just put it again at Real Talk Sports 7. We have our own YouTube page, which of course many of you are watching us right now on YouTube. It's please subscribe to our channel. Subscribe. It's at Real Talk Sports TV. Go ahead and subscribe there. Click the little bell, bing, so you'll get notified whenever we do a live broadcast or when we do something pre-recorded. We appreciate you so much for doing that and for joining us. One more time back to social media here. Mr. Johnson, thank you, sir. And also thank you to Ms. Dolman as well. We appreciate you guys for joining in because, again, you guys make the show what it is. Without you guys, first of all, we wouldn't have as much fun. So we, again, mad appreciation to you. Look, guys, you see down here, you see my name as Minister Jonathan Simmons. I actually am a real live minister. I did not get my my license from off a cereal box. I actually am licensed through a real church. And so before I leave, like I said, this show is about sports from a different perspective. So I always encourage you, if you do not have a relationship with God, you need to, ma'am, sir, please get to know him today. How you do that is through a personal relationship with his son, Jesus Christ. That's right. There is a real Jesus Christ. Here's what he did. He loved you so much that he came here, became a man just like you and I, or a woman, whichever you prefer, a human, and he suffered and died on the cross for all of your sins, past, present, and future. But the good news is he is risen now from the dead. So here's how you become connected with God. Number one, you repent of those sins, all those things that you did that weren't according to God's will. Just repent. Number two, you believe that Jesus came and died for you and was risen from the dead, and then go tell someone. And bam, guess what? You are now born again. And two great things. Number one, you become an official citizen of the kingdom of heaven, and you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein, which means you can do something really cool. You can call the creator of the universe Dad. How cool is that? And when you leave here, you get to go to a happy place called heaven and avoid that nasty place called hell. So if you haven't done it, do it today. Look, guys, we enjoyed you. Thank you so much for watching us. And until the next time, for me and Ms. Dolman, we say God bless you and good night. So long.
Bye.